For my project, I wanted to focus on ability grouping. Russell is a first-year teacher struggling to engage all of his students. He decides to use the controversial teaching technique of differentiating his students into learning groups. He splits his class into three different groups: high functioning, average, and low functioning. He also differentiates the content of the activity. My question that I wanted to focus on was ability grouping the best solution to the problem Russell faced in his class? To answer the question, I felt like I needed to look at the different types of grouping. And what I discovered is there's three different types: cluster grouping, within class grouping, and flex grouping. First, I'd like to talk about cluster grouping. Cluster grouping occurs school-wide and generally within gifted students. Cluster grouping is typically related to the highest functioning students in a self-contained gifted classroom environment, but it can occur in all academic levels. Ability grouping is when students are generally grouped based on their academic performance currently in the classroom and on previous standardized scores. Research has proven that students in the gifted program are the most successful out of ability groups. The last group is called flexible grouping. Students are placed into groups based on their educational needs. And in this group, it's important to keep in mind that students are continuously evaluated and are placed in groups accordingly. The groups can vary in size. They can occur in small group, whole group, and vary also in age ranges. In this case study, the teacher chose to group his students based on their academic ability, also relating to the group of flexible grouping. He provided his students with individual assignments based on their learning needs, which was very good. The assignments were demanding as expectations were high, but I felt that he did not create a succession of feedback from his students. He did not encourage them to actively ask questions, or he didn't praise them during the assignments. I truly felt like the students could be more successful if they were more engaged in the project as well. So I wanted to look at, could the students have done better if the classroom environment were more positive? Does the classroom environment contribute to the failure or successfulness of ability grouping? The research does prove this to be true. Typically, the lower achieving groups struggle with feelings of self-doubt and pity. From my research, it stated that the best success in the classroom starts from high expectations placed at the beginning of the year. Russell was on the right track by experimenting with the controversial method of ability grouping in his classroom, but he left out one important aspect, I feel like, as a successful teacher. I truly feel like that he didn't take the time to create positive working relationships with his students. And I truly feel like this is crucial for him to be successful in his classroom. I believe he needs to continue to build relationships with his students and parents at the school. He also needs to continue to experiment with the different learning groups and to see how to get the most positive results. During my time spent on the research, I did find that it does prove that ability grouping can work well, but teachers must remember that all students don't learn the same. The key to success here, in my opinion, is to approach it differently with each student and to offer each student with different strategies and to basically just be flexible. Teachers have to be able to meet each student's needs each day by using multiple techniques. A dedicated teacher, in my opinion, with a willingness to be creative to meet each student's individual needs will be successful in teaching all students with all types of learning abilities.